Hello there and welcome to the Taffs Word on Football. Basically this is a new blog type series I'm going to be putting when I'm going to tackle some questions, some issues in football that basically I'm going to give my own personal opinion of, and but basically, you know, if it's like a problem, for example, I'm going to say what I think has gone wrong and how I think they can fix it. And if it is something like an accolade or something like that, going to be like one of the first to obviously congratulate that team on, like, for example, when whoever wins the World Cup, I'll be doing a similar thing then. But I'm actually going to be tackling a problem in this first Word on Football, and for me it's going to be the problem with the English national side. So you can basically tie it up as English football as a whole. I'm going to basically get to the point of the Premier League and when that began in the 92-93 season. Because I think any national team, you do need to look at your domestic game before anything. The first thing is the domestic game, the state of your domestic football. Now, the birth of the Premier League, 92-93, obviously saw a big publicity stunt to attract more money, mainly from television, to improve the stature of the top division of English football, which was traditionally the English First Division, now the English Premier League. Big sponsors, big money everywhere. The clubs within the league benefited from all that money, and then they were able to afford bigger wages, bigger players. Now, obviously, that was the beginning of the introduction of more and more foreign players. And I know this has been mentioned, obviously, so many foreigners mean English players can't get through to their first teams, and a lot of prospects tend to die off when they were fancied to become good players. So to support that, if you have a look at it, I'd say that the English team, every single tournament goes backwards. They go back. You know, they're always taking a step backwards. Now, you can say, obviously, this current team look good. I mean, fair play. I mean, I know they've bailed out the World Cup, which is kind of why I've obviously done this blog. They've bailed out the World Cup. They've looked good. They got a youthful team, and fair play. Yes, they look like they got some good players. But does that mean that's going to fix it and, you know, come in the future? Because they've always had a good squad. They've always had a squad capable of competing, but they just haven't. So basically, if you look back to the Euro '96 tournament, that was, for me, the last time that England actually competed and actually looked like they were capable of winning a major international tournament. Euro '96, they got the semi-final. They went out on penalties to Germany, and I do feel that they would have won in the final if they'd have got through. You know, in England, no, that'd been great for them, quite obviously. But then, since then, they just haven't come close, have they? Is that tied into the birth of the Premier League? Well, it might be a bit of a coincidence, but for me, it certainly seems that way, because before the Premier League, English teams have always done well in international tournaments. You know, they're only going out for things like handball goals and things like that. You know, what I would propose for the FA is a system where when you pick your 25-man squad for your Premier League campaign, you limit it to 6 foreign players. Now in a 25-man squad, that means that 19 have got to be British or Irish. Now, obviously, you don't want to beat the point where Welsh, Scottish, Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland are foreigners in the English game. I'd say of British origin, 6 foreign players maximum, and that's all you can have. Now, the knock-on effect that you think this may have, well, you think TV money go down because your popularity of the league would deplete completely. No, that wouldn't be the case, because if you think about it, 6 foreign players each, they're going to be keeping their best foreigners, and then your fringe foreigners will go. Many more will obviously go, but you look at Man City, for example. I mean, they're obviously going to keep the likes of Yaya Toure, Sergio Aguero, and players like that, but then it's going to be 19 British players in their squad, and the same for everybody. Now, if you think about it, they'd have to sell players. That would bring more money in for them then. Obviously, they sell these players, wage bill goes down, more money. They would have to look at prospects to come in and fill their squads. Obviously, this couldn't be done just like, alright, next season, this is it. It would have to be a gradual, bring it down, you know, bit by bit. I'd say a 3-year plan should be safe. If something like this was to be implemented by the English FA now, it would be like, you know, we're at 6 now. Well, what I say is eventually going to be 6. You could basically start it off, and I know at the moment there's 8 players have got to be British. I think 4 of them. I think for Europe, 4 of them have got to be homegrown from your club. Now, that's good for Europe and all that. But for the English domestic game, I think what you should have, to start with, obviously, if we said 19 English players eventually. So, to work that, I think I'd have 8, keep bringing it up by 2 each season, or 3. Let's say 3. 8 would mean 11, then it would mean 14, then it would mean 18. Well, just bump it up by the extra one and make it 19. So over the years, they gradually come up, you know, they have to have that amount of British players in their squad, so they can prepare for it, and they can start slowly making those changes, and hopefully the game won't go too far backwards. Are they going to lose any TV money, you know? And it won't be that bad that on a continental stage, Premier League teams are not going to suffer when it comes to playing in Europe, because they have to get rid of some of their better players, because at the end of the day they're going to be encouraged to make better players. Where they make money from selling their foreign players, they'll bring in some British players, but they could also invest in their training and youth facilities, build better academies. You know, they've got money to invest in creating better players from a young age, rather than throwing between 20 and 40 million on a different player every year. You know, obviously, you know, your money's going to go up, your wage bill's going to go down, because your players who are going to be coming through, they're not going to be wanting 100 grand plus a week, are they? You know, they're not going to be ready for that kind of money. Eventually, they might get that kind of money, you know, if they do become super players. But I mean, if you're thinking about it, right, too many prospects are amounting to nothing. I mean, look at Michael Johnson from Man City. There's a perfect example there, right? He was tipped to be part of this squad 4 years ago. Now what is he? He's actually retired now. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but someone told me the other day he's retired. I mean, how can a prospect retire from football? Because what? You know, he's capable of playing. Why is he retired? Maybe he was a first team at Man City, couldn't get Premier League or Championship at this point, and thought, no, it's too much of a drop down for me. I'd rather look into doing something else. And if that is the case, that's such a shame. A prospect has become nothing because Man City have been spending all this money on all these big players worldwide, and all their good youngsters have come to nothing. I mean, Daniel Sturridge could have been nothing. You know, if you think about it, it's just a sorry state of affairs, really. And the thing is, you've got to look at it, and you've got to understand that TV money could go down. These companies say, oh, and I tell you what, then if you're going to start putting these rules in, we're going to demand we pay less, because there's not going to be such a glittering stage, as much of a glittering stage as it used to be. If that was the case, the FA need to ask themselves, what's more important to them? More money or a better national side? They've got to ask themselves that question. And the fact is, they've got to restore the pride in playing for the national side, because I'm Welsh, right? So I wouldn't know what it feels like to be a proud Englishman supporting England. But then the fans have always been proud, but the players don't seem as proud as they used to be. Euro 96, going back to that again. I remember watching those England games and watching those England players belting the national anthem out at the tops of their lungs. And you could see it, every single one of them was shouting it out. You look at this World Cup, and they're just muttering it to themselves. And it's crap, isn't it? You know, I think England have always had capable players, but then these players, they're not so proud because they know they're getting picked. A lot of them know they're getting picked. I mean, you look at the players who played particularly well in this World Cup for England are the ones that don't usually get into the England squad. I mean, Raheem Sterling, no one at the beginning of the season thought he was going to go to the World Cup. Jordan Henderson, I thought Jordan Henderson had a good World Cup. Raheem Sterling had a great World Cup. But look at Wayne Rooney, he knew he was going to get picked, played shite. He scored a goal, a tap-in. But what else? What else did he do? He's supposed to be a world-class player. He missed so many chances. But then it's like he's always been compared to the likes of Messi and Ronaldo, and Suarez just comes and completely upstages him in that Uruguay game. You just got to wonder what's happening to these players. I mean, players are too quick to retire from international football early so they can prolong their club careers. I mean, fair play for the club I support, Newport County. Obviously we don't have international players, but I grew up supporting Liverpool, right? And we're talking about the likes of Steven Gerrard quitting international football early so he can have a longer Liverpool career. And I think, well, great for Liverpool. Is it great for England? No, because they're losing a great player, you know, who could go on playing for a little while longer. They're losing a captain as well, you know. So if he does decide to retire, what's going to happen? You know, who have they got who's going to fill Gerrard's shoes right now? But then if they had more players, more English players playing around the place, they'd have tons of replacements ready to, you know, lined up to go and replace him. I mean, the Premier League isn't going to go downhill because you limit the amount of foreign players you have. You've got six players. You sell a big foreign player, you bring in another big foreign player with the money. So it's not like you've got to put all this money to one side, delegating a big, massive, fat transfer kitty every season. You know, you can get rid of one player, bring in another, and then, you know, bring your players through. Buy the younger players that are coming through at the smaller teams. You know, because you look at a lot of the better players now. Joe Hart came from Shrewsbury, for example. You know, these gems are at these clubs, so pick them. You know, make sure that these lower clubs are getting their dues for it. You know, so I definitely think a plan similar to this, maybe not the exact one that I'm putting out right now, but a plan similar to this will definitely help them with their national side without completely destroying, you know, the glittering stage, as I said it once, the Premier League. I don't think it would happen that way. So if you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, tell me why I'm wrong. I like to be proved wrong, because if I'm proved wrong, if someone says you're wrong, and I look at it and think, actually, what you just said is right, I learn from that. So I'm happy with that. So, yeah, a bit of a debate I could start with this, but have at it. You know, I quite like debating. If any of you are on my Facebook page, then, you know, I debate about a lot of different things, especially football. So let's go for it. Anyway, the next one I'm going to be doing is about Welsh football and the Welsh international team, and I can relate to this for being Welsh. So have a look out for that one. But this one, English football, what do you think? Let me know. Cheers, guys. Cheerio for now.